Good morning, everyone. Welcome to At Home with Hayley. I am Hayley Andrews. I can see that you're coming through and joining. Can everybody confirm that they can hear me okay? Someone could just pop in the chat box for me. Can everybody hear me okay? Brilliant. Morning, Katja. Yes, I am Santa today. It is our Christmas jumper or t-shirt day, although I am actually dressed as Mrs. Claus this morning. So this is our last At Home with Hayley for the rest of for 2020. We will pick up again in January, and an invite will be sent to your email. So make sure you keep a lookout for that. Today, yes, is our last one of the year, so I thought I'd go all festive, dress up for you. It is Christmas jumper day here in the UK as well, and it's all for charity, so hopefully you guys will appreciate. I quite often make myself look stupid and participate, and any chance to dress up, I will absolutely jump at it. So yes, we are very festive this morning. So this morning, guys, we have something slightly different. We have a wonderful guest who many of you may already know. But this morning we have Mrs. Dr. Wendy Snedden, and she is going to be talking to you. And there you go, Wendy has her, that is an awesome jumper, Wendy. Does it sing as well? Oh, we can't hear you. Are you on mute?
Yes, I'm on mute. Sorry, quote of the year, isn't it, that?
You look fantastic.
Thank you.
So, one question before we move on. Does it sing, your jumper?
No, it doesn't, but I sing, so I'll make up for it.
Do you want to give us a Christmas song?
Not this morning. It's too early.
Okay, I'll let you off. Brilliant. So Wendy's going to be talking to you all about navigating business and the growth of your business, and she has some awesome slides to go through with you. She's going first today, and she's going to go through an introduction of herself, because many of you know her as a mentor through Your Freedom Empire, but there's so much more to Wendy. So she's going to give you a little bit of a background in other areas in business that she works within. And hopefully you guys can take something out of her slides to be able to move and drive your business forward, and make sure you set up and adopting business in the right way. Is that fair to say, Wendy?
Absolutely, yeah. This will help you grow your business quicker and faster and more successfully. Awesome.
So I'm really excited to hear all that you have to say, and I'm going to be sat here with my pen and paper, definitely taking notes. So I'm going to try not to be distracted by the pretty lights. But I'm going to let you, have you got control of the slides there? Are you able to move?
How would I do that?
So if you pop onto slides, so there's at the bottom right hand, you'll have speak, and then one above that is slides.
Got it, yeah.
Yeah, and then you just press next for when you want to move on to your next slide.
Perfect. Right.
Brilliant. So I'm going to jump off camera and I'll let you take it away, and then I'll join you at the end for questions.
Awesome. So thank you very much, Hayley, for inviting me along to talk a little bit about what I do, as well as property development. So I work for a company called the Lodestone Lounge, and set this up a few years ago. The Lodestone, for those of you that aren't sure what that means, the lodestone is a magnetic stone that sits in the center of compasses, and it helps people to navigate their way. So when we were coming up with a name for the business, we thought that that resonated quite nicely, and I'm a big fan of gemstones and the power of crystals and things, and so it felt really a really nice thing to do. So essentially we kind of look at navigating business growth. I have about 30 years of experience working with startup businesses, so businesses in the early stages, and getting them to grow to a significant size, mainly within the veterinary industry, but I've also worked with other industries as well. I started life as a veterinary nurse, which is why I ended up working mainly with veterinary businesses, worked my way up through into management, went into teaching of veterinary nursing, and then did my HR training and worked in operations management within veterinary practices. I'm an author. My book, Get Out of Your Way, which I'll talk about in a bit more detail later. I'm also a business coach. I do lecturing, and more recently got the opportunity to become a TEDx speaker, which was absolutely amazing. I own and run several businesses, including the property business. I was involved with a veterinary practice group called Vets Now, an emergency clinic. And so I was instrumental in getting their first 30 business sites set up. And within that company, one of the things that I put in place was we achieved something that's called Investors in People. And that's about creating a great environment for the team, and the team then rates the business. And it's unusual for a business in its first couple of years to even consider going for something like Investors in People. But when I looked at the model, I felt it was really important that we got the people bit right, because we know that businesses that invest in looking after their people are much more successful. And there are statistics and surveys to show that is actually the case. I then went on to run a group of veterinary practices based in Leeds and actually based across the UK. And this company wanted to be in the Sunday Times top 100 best companies to work for. So again, there were processes we had to go through to get the employees to the stage where they believed that the company was the best company to work for. And the first time we were number 49, so we got in the top 50. And for the next 3 years, we still maintained that top 50 position, and 5 years on, that business is still entering that competition and still within the top 50 best businesses to work for. So they're managing to maintain that with the strategies and systems that we put in place back at that time. And one of the most significant things I've done is I was awarded an honorary doctorate by the University of Westminster. That was a few years ago for some work I'd done, and it was an absolute honour. I was nominated by some colleagues, and we had a ceremony at the university in London, and then we had an amazing reception in the Dorchester Hotel to celebrate the success. So that was absolutely fantastic. There we go. Okay, so in terms of kind of what I do on a sort of day-to-day basis, we look at supporting businesses with attracting great people and loyal customers. People are attracted to businesses, so people will buy from people, businesses that have two key ingredients, and that is great people and loyal customers. Richard Branson was famous for looking after people. I think there's a bit of debate over whether that's still the case. But in the past, he was very well known for, quoting and being probably one of the first entrepreneurs to really promote taking care of his team. He believed that if you train people well enough so that they can leave, and then treat them well enough so that they don't want to. And you'll often hear business owners complaining about how people, they train them and then they leave. And I think, business owners and employers have to look at how they're managing and supporting employees to make them want to stay. And I think we're totally responsible as employers for doing that. So one of the things that we look at in the Lodestone Lounge is we look at how to attract, recruit and retain great people. In terms of attracting great people, what we need to think about doing, and you might be thinking, oh, I'm just a property developer, I'm just buying houses and renting them out. But what you're doing is you're still running a business. And some of you may build a small portfolio, some of you may go on to create big property companies, and you may go on to open up businesses within the property field, or you may do other things. But if you're running a business, then these are some key things which you need to be thinking about. Not just if you're not employing people at the moment, that's fine, but you will be working with contractors, you'll be outsourcing work to people. These are things you need to think about putting in place now so that you're in a great position to attract people to your business in the future. People are attracted to why you do what you do. Some of you may have heard of Simon Sinek. He does a great TEDx talk on why, so it's worth looking that up and listening to what he says. So it's really important to be clear about why you're doing what you're doing, and certainly throughout the property training journey, one of the things we talk about at the beginning is why you here, why is it you want to do what you're doing, and it's important to keep that why as a focus as you grow the business, and it's that why that attracts people to do what you do. So just to give you an example of my why, so with my veterinary nursing background, we used to see a lot of cruelty cases, and what started to become apparent was that these animals were being injured on purpose, but so were people in the household. And I started to work with a group called the Links Group that look at the link between animal abuse and human abuse. And I realized that we needed to tell people that there was this link, because if people who saw animals being treated not right reported it, it could potentially help people in the family who may also not be being treated right, might be being beaten and abused. And so for the last 20 years, I've worked with the Links Group. We've been educating vets to recognise non-accidental injuries, and teaching healthcare professionals how to recognise if they're working with families and they see violence towards the children or other humans in the house, and there is a pet in the house, to also then flag that up to the animal welfare agencies to make sure that that pet is not being abused as well. And because we know with the link that there is a high chance that will be happening, because when children are being abused, there's a high chance that animals will also be being abused, and vice versa. And we have evidence that this is the case. So throughout all of that work that I was doing with the Links Group, one of the things that came out was that families stay in violent relationships longer because they can't take pets with them when they move on. Refuges can't take pets, temporary accommodation often can't take pets. And, you know, some of you guys are landlords. Do you take pets? There's an awful lot of landlords that don't take pets. So people were staying in violent relationships, and you know, people were being murdered as a result of this. So one of the things the Links Group does is promotes pet fostering. So we look for foster carers to take on pets from people. And one of the things I wanted to do when I started getting into property, I thought, well, why can't refugees take pets? Why can't we provide places for people who are fleeing domestic violence to take their pets with them? Because animals and humans have such a strong bond. If you don't have a pet, you probably won't have any idea what I'm talking about. But if you do have a pet, you'll know how important they are, what a big part of their family are. So that's my why. I got into property and I wanted to grow a property business so that I could start to look at creating refuges and safe spaces for families to stay together with their pets while they get through that kind of difficult time of that initial part of fleeing that violence and starting to rebuild their lives. So if you are a landlord and you are wondering, should we accept pets or not, I would urge you to seriously consider accepting pets for part of the reason what I've talked about. And if you're worried that pets will destroy houses, I don't think pets necessarily do any more damage than children and some people. So you can always mitigate by increasing the deposit. You know, there are things that you can do to make sure that the property is taken care of. But please seriously consider your policy about taking pets. So sorry, I've digressed quite a bit there, but I think it's important. That's my why. That's what gets me out of bed in the morning. So when I can't be bothered going to view properties or speaking to investors because I'm tired, I have to stop and think, well, if I don't do that today, then I'm further away from being able to help people that need my help. It's also important, once you know what your why is, you need to tell people it, because that's what attracts people. So I have people coming to work with me who love what I do. They see what I do and they want to be part of helping me do what I do, and that attracts them to me. It's important to have a vision for your business. So, with your property investment business, where in 5 years or in 10 years time do you want to be? And again, that will help attract people to you. People want to know, people like to work somewhere where there's a purpose, there's a mission, if you like. So what's the vision for that business? Do you want to have 20 properties? Do you want to have 10 million pounds worth of properties? What does that kind of look like? What's the vision for the business? What are you creating? The mission for the business is how you're going to achieve your vision. So how do you do what you do? And then it's important to have values. So what is important to you? So for me, what's important is kindness, is family, is respect, integrity. So these are strong values that I hold. So these values extend into my business. And when I'm looking to work with people and other companies, I want to work with people that have similar values to me. It also helps when you're employing people, you can look for people that have got those values. If you bring people into your business that don't have the same values as you, you will start to have clashes. There will be problems that will arise over that kind of difference in opinions and values. And it is really important to consider those at the beginning of a recruitment process. And then you need to think about the culture. What's it going to be like for people to come and work with you? What are the rules, if you like, of where you're working? At the moment, clearly, majority of people are working from home, and so the kind of culture is changing within organisations at the moment, and we need to be looking at new ways of kind of creating a culture that's appropriate. I know people who perhaps traditionally went to their office 9 to 5, came home and then had their life. Now, because they're working at home, they might be starting a bit earlier because they've not got that commuting time. And they're possibly working on later into the day, later into the evening, because their home is their office. And so they're finding getting that work-life balance really difficult. So as employers, we need to be thinking, how do we want that culture to come across, and how can we make sure that everything that we believe in still happens, even though we are now remotely working with our people. Again, Richard Branson, it's got lots of great quotes, but respect is how to treat everyone, not just those you want to impress. And I think it's really important that we show respect across the breadth of our company and everything that we do. Cool. Recruiting. So we need to have all of that information I've just talked about, and we need to be able to present that and show that to people, so that because what was happening, maybe not so much right now, but we go through waves of this. When there are not a lot of jobs around, then employees are picking who they want to work with. And that was what was happening probably over the last couple of years. This year, obviously, things have changed, and there are lots of people that are now looking for jobs, but they will still be looking for organisations that have the values, the culture that they want to work with. So it's important to have that there on show and on display to help you attract the right people into your business. Recruitment it's a process that if you follow it appropriately and in the right way, you're going to attract the right people into your business. Lots of people, especially when they're starting out, they'll recruit their friend, their neighbour, a family member, and they just pull them in to help them out because it doesn't cost them very much money and they know them quite well, so they feel that they can kind of trust them at this stage. It doesn't always work further down the line, and there are lots of business owners that has caused problems for further down the line. So it's important to have a process to follow. Making a mistake when you recruit somebody can cost the business a lot of money. When we did some research into replacing a full-time veterinary surgeon in a practice, because of they have a 3-month notice period, We know that people, when they've made the decision to leave a business, they have mentally left a business. No matter how professional you are, you don't really want to be there anymore. So what you'll find is productivity drops. So you've got a cost there. There's a 3-month notice period. It often takes companies a while to get to decide what they want to do, who they want to replace that person with. So we often found that process was taking veterinary practices 9 to 12 months. And the cost involved in that whole process, when we broke it down, was around about 120 grand for a 40 grand salary. So what we were saying to veterinary practices, you need to get this right first time. Otherwise, every time you recruit somebody, every time you have to replace somebody, it's going to be costing you around about 120 grand. Now, if you're looking at an office administrator, which might be the type of people you're looking to recruit, then the cost of that is probably going to be in the region of 60 to 80,000 pounds. If you are needing to replace sort of admin people. So it's still significant. So getting it right first time is really important, having a process. And there are things that you need to have in place. The process, a screening matrix. There are people who make a career out of suing companies that don't put them through for interview, or at the interview process, if they're not offered the job, they will find a way, though you can be accused of discrimination, even at the application process. So this is why it's important to either outsource it to a recruitment agency or bring an HR person in just to talk you through how to get that process set up and started, and help prevent you from being open to abuse by people like that. Communicate throughout the process. So I don't know how many times you've maybe applied for a job and then never heard anything back. And I don't know about you, but if I was treated in that way, I probably wouldn't be interested in looking at that company in the future. I think it's quite rude. When you're putting together an application for a job, it's quite an intensive process. It takes quite a lot of thought. So I think as a courtesy, communicate with people, because you never know in the future where that person's CV might be right for you. And so it's important to kind of maintain good communication. Interview process, make sure your interview process is relevant to the job that you're offering, and then have a selection process that is transparent. Make sure you can justify why you're employing the person you're employing and why you're not employing the people that you are going to reject, and give people feedback. Let them know what they could do better the next time round. It really helps. So again, make sure the interview is appropriate for the job they're doing. So if you're hiring a receptionist, do a telephone interview. Let's hear how they sound on the phone. If you're interviewing for IKEA, have them build some furniture. See how they get on. I pinched this from LinkedIn. Employees stay with you for a number of reasons. And these are kind of 10 key things that people like to stay with employers for. They like to be paid well for the job they're doing. They like to be mentored and supported. They like to be challenged. They like opportunities for promotion. They like to be involved in the business. They like to be appreciated, valued. They like to know that what they're doing is on a mission. They like to feel empowered, and most of all, they like to be trusted. I think there was a kind of quote where somebody working for Nassau, he was cleaning the floors, and someone went in to interview people in Nassau, and they said to him, "What do you do?" And he said, "I put people into space." So his job there was cleaning the floor, but he was part of a team that was putting people into space, and that was how proud he felt about what the job that he was doing. Retaining people is key, as I've said, because it's so expensive to replace people. People have to have a contract. They now have to have it prior to starting working with you. So if you've got people working with you that don't have contracts, then get your finger out and get contracts. It's also important, even if you're outsourcing work, make sure you've got a solid contract to keep that relationship, so we know what's involved. Have a handbook. The handbook will explain the policies and procedures. It'll also have the culture and those kind of unspoken rules, things that you want people to do. So, you know, things like what time you expect people to be starting, if people are going to be late, what the process is, if people need to book a holiday, what the process is. So have something where they can read about all of that and understand what is expected of them when they work for you. Make sure you do a thorough induction. Studies done by Oxford showed that it often took, particularly in manufacturing type businesses, it took people up to 24 weeks to become fully productive. So if you are a person, if you're bringing a person into the business who is going to be income generating, the quicker they understand your business and they know what it is they need to do, the quicker they're going to make money for your business. So get a thorough induction in place. I remember in the early days in veterinary practice, they would bring a new vet in and they would just assume they're a vet, they know what they're doing. And these guys would be put onto the job consulting from day one. They didn't know how to work the computer. They didn't know the drug stock. They didn't know how a lot of the equipment worked. And it just took them a lot longer to get through the consultations. If we'd spent a few days maybe having someone shadow them, getting them to understand the computer system, it would have gone a lot smoother, and these guys would be income generating for the business a lot quicker. Allocate people a mentor, give them someone they can go and talk to that's not necessarily a line manager, it might be a peer, but someone that they can go to just to ask those daft questions that they don't want to go to their line manager with. And make sure you review performance. And this isn't about when people are not doing a good job. This is from day one. Have a system that means on a regular basis, every month, you're having a chat with them, telling them how pleased you are with how things are going, asking them how they think things are going. If there's a problem, deal with that problem the minute it happens. Don't leave it for that month. Because if someone does something wrong and you don't tell them about it, they think that what they've done is okay, and they'll probably keep doing it. So getting that performance review system in place is really, really important. Same for your contractors and people that you are outsourcing work to. Give them feedback too on what they're doing, so you make sure that you're always getting what you expect. I'm not going to read the poem out, but one of my favorite poems, Dr. Seuss, is about I love my job. And I think what I always want people to do, if they come and work for me, I want them to say that they love their job. I've worked for some amazing employers, and I've picked up over the years things that went really well for me, and things that didn't go so well. And that's what led me to write the book. So most business owners, you may not be there yet, or you might be there. Busy and exhausted. I know for most property developers, you know, when you're doing those viewings and you're working out those deals, it can be quite tiring, and especially if you're working on your own. As you're starting to build a team, how are you communicating with people? Especially right now when it's remote, it can be really difficult to get messages out to people and get people kind of sharing what they're doing. A lot of business owners don't have good team engagement. And they might find that they're losing employees on a regular basis. Maybe they're having difficulty recruiting, or maybe not really sure what they need. Because let's face it, you've done all the training to become a property investor or whatever business you do, but you don't learn the business skills. You don't learn how to manage finance. You don't learn how to manage people. And these are disciplines in themselves. So it's really important to either recognize whether, if you like doing that kind of thing, go and learn how to do it properly. If you don't like doing that sort of thing, outsource it and save yourself the time and money. Are you swamped in paperwork? And like I say, a lot of people aren't trained in management or HR. Even in big businesses, a lot of people aren't generally trained in management. They just get fired into positions because they're in the right place at the right time. And that causes all sorts of problems. I'm sure most of you will have worked in companies where you've seen that happen. So I wrote a book with kind of tips and tools and techniques to help you understand what you need to do to make sure that you do attract, recruit and retain the right people into your business. So you can read the book and get some tips on how to get started on it. Or you could think about outsourcing. HR is something that businesses don't think about often until they've got, you know, round about maybe 100 employees. By then, you've probably gathered so many problems and so much stress for managers within the business and probably yourself as a business owner. It's just not worth it. Get all the policies and procedures and everything you need in place right now, or as soon as you start employing people, because whether you employ one person or 1,000, you need the same policies, procedures, contract, handbooks. All of that stuff needs to be in place. I've also created an online system where you can keep all of your HR stuff on. So if you like technology and you like keeping things simple, then the software platform manages everything for you. There's a library to keep all your policies and documents on. Employees can log in, they can request holidays, there's a chat function so they can communicate with each other, there's a notice board, you can put up important notices, alert people when a new policy gets put out. And there's also a taskbar for monitoring tasks. So you can have a review with someone, you can agree that they're going to do something over the next few weeks, you can record it in the taskbar, and then between you can monitor progress on it. So it's a nice way to help you manage employees. It's designed for small businesses so that to help you kind of get all of that stuff right in the early days of your business. And of course, with software, it is very secure. It also helps you comply with GDPR. So if you're starting to gather employee data and you're shoving it in a drawer, that's not appropriate. It needs to be kept securely from a GDPR perspective, and the software helps you to do that. So in a nutshell, my company helps with support and training on client loyalty, business planning, leadership, HR skills, recruitment, performance coaching, marketing, finance, and KPIs. We can help provide support in all of those areas. And that's my contact details if anyone's got any questions or would like to know more. I'm really sorry that I can't stay for the rest of the meeting. I'm going to watch on the recording later on. So if you do have any specific questions, then please drop me an email or ask the question in the Facebook group, and I'll check in, or if you leave your question with Hayley, I'll make sure that we get back to you on that. So yeah, I hope that was useful.
Brilliant. Well, that was great. Thank you. I definitely nail that IKEA interview. In fact, I think I'd probably enjoy myself.
Most of us would, wouldn't it? And doesn't it make interviews such fun when you can see someone in their true ability? Then you're just going to really see the true person.
Yeah, it's little tips like that really that will help you understand whether you're putting the right person in place. And although it sounds very logical, a lot of people don't think about it. And there's been times I haven't. You're talking about hundreds of thousands of pounds lost on employees. I've made that mistake, and I was actually smiling as you were going through the slides, because so many of the things that you highlighted, I've actually made those mistakes over the last 10 years, and it's cost me dearly. Of course, we have everything in place now, but the amount of money just out of employees that that have left or moved on, or like you said, been trained and then gone and copied your model or something. I've had loads of that happen, and actually looking back at it now, it was through mistakes that I didn't, mistakes that I made. You live and learn, don't you? But obviously, if you look at that up front, then it's going to obviously save you an awful lot of money and an awful lot of time as well.
My experience of business owners, we're quite arrogant. We think that we're the only ones that can do what we do. And the reality is that is not true. And that's why the book is called Get Out of Your Way, because it's a case of get out the way, bring in the expertise that are really going to create your business success, and leaves you to focus on the bit that you're best at. And that will keep you, that you'll enjoy your job more when you're doing that.
Absolutely. And your business will grow, obviously, as a result of you working on it instead of in it as well. And I think that's the key thing. And like I said, I can actually relate, because I have done all of those mistakes that you that you mentioned. And yeah, so thank you. That was brilliant. Really appreciate you sharing that with us. And I've never heard about this side of your business either, so it was nice for me, as you are part of our team. And hopefully you agree that your Freedom Empire is doing everything right, and a great team to be part of.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know that you actually have another meeting, so thank you. I know that we're kind of running a few minutes over for you as well, so I appreciate you sticking around. If we do have any questions, I'll get them directed to you via email, and then you can address that with the individuals.
And I'm happy to have a kind of a confidential chat with anyone about any issues they're having. No charge. You know, I'm really up for, you know, let's see what problems we can solve, and just make in your employees' life a happy life, because then you'll be a happy life. You'll have a happy life.
That sounds fantastic. So guys, take advantage of that. And like Wendy said as well, even if you don't have employees on your, you know, on your payroll, you are still utilizing outsourced, you know, PR. It may be PR, it may be, you know, admin or anything like that. It's your contractors, it's your sourcing agents. These are all part of your team, and you do need to understand how to manage them and make sure that you're protecting yourself within your business as well. So thanks ever so much, Wendy. I love your jumper.
Thank you for having me. Have a great day.
My very plain jumper. I need to get some flashing lights there.
Have a great Christmas, all of you. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye. Right, so if you guys do, and girls, have any questions for Wendy, please just pop it in the chat box and we will actually address that and put you in contact with Wendy. So in terms of, there's very low numbers on the show today, and I've been messaged while Wendy was on to say that there has been an issue with the emailing system and the links that are sent out to you guys, and so I will just have to apologize for that. Of course, the show is put onto YouTube, so you will be able to watch and have a look at Wendy's slot through there. But I can only apologize. I'm not sure what's gone on, because I've only just had the message come through as I reported that there's very low numbers. Is there an issue? So that is what's going on today. Never mind. For those of you that are here and managed to get on, you're obviously a few of the lucky ones. For those of you that haven't, of course, you can watch it on the YouTube replay. So just in terms of Wendy's slot then, you know, as I was saying, the reason I thought it was a really good idea to bring Wendy in to talk about her background and the other businesses that she operates in is because I have actually run businesses now for many years, and you know, employed staff for 10. And so I can relate to many of the mistakes that, you know, Wendy highlighted. And if I was to calculate the amount of money that I have lost through employing the wrong people, training the wrong people, then looking at our internal processes, having HR in place and things like that, it has been a real eye-opener for me. And I suppose we have ideas for business, and we're very good at creating, you know, the brand and the service offering and growing our business in that way. But actually, from a business perspective, we need to understand how to run not only the business and grow the business, but the people within that business as well. And like I said, I've learned the hard way, and I'm happy to say that we're actually in a really good place now. But there has been some really poor decisions over the years by myself and you know, and the businesses that I've been running. So I think, you know, it's very, very important to look at this in the beginning when you're setting up, because that was a mistake that I made. So if you do want to get in contact with Wendy, we can provide you with her details. Drop an email to admin@YourFreedomEmpire and we'll put you in contact, and she can give you a consultation call to actually give you some free advice there as well. And then once you grow and you want to look at bringing people in and look at having internal practices and things like that, then of course you can reach out to her and she can help you in that manner. Yes, so that's all I wanted to say about that, really. I do have a very short, well, I actually don't have an update for you this morning, but just on the off the top of my head type of thing. So we are still, you know, in different tiers here in the UK. So we have 1, 2 and 3. We are locally still in tier 3, which means we're very restricted in what we can and can't do. And who we can and can't see, which is becoming very frustrating. The vaccines have started to go out, so lots of people have actually had the vaccine now. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head, but I have seen reports coming through that the vaccines have been carried out all week now. People are generally quite happy. There's people that are refusing to have that as well. I think it's very mixed feelings at this moment in time. I think as time goes on, people's opinion may change. I think there is skepticism around the vaccine and has it been rushed. So very much what we spoke about last week, but that's each to their own. There is no judgment at all. If you have it, great, and you're happy to have it. If you don't have it, then that's fine as well. Nothing to do with me at all. And so I apologize if I offended anyone last week. In terms of the councils then, so just something that we've actually reached out to the councils this week, and we've been contacted to say that the councils are actually going to be back paying and paying down the tenants' arrears. And so if you do have tenants that are in arrears, that are in receipt of benefits, or have lost their job and are now in receipt of benefits, and they are in significant arrears, then you will be able to reach out to your local councils to see what grants are available there, because there are schemes in place to actually help pay down the tenant's debt, rather than the tenant actually losing their home. So that's excellent news. I know that Wales have actually implemented that for quite some time now, and that's obviously rolling through into the rest of the UK. On Brexit, it's not really looking great. There has been a few breakthroughs, but in terms of actually getting a trade deal, it's looking unlikely. Negotiations will be a little clearer on Sunday, and so we should have an update then on what's actually going on and whether we're going to live with or without a trade deal. So I'll keep you updated on that through Facebook and Instagram. This is our last At Home with Hayley for 2020. And I just want to say thank you to everybody, actually, because this was supposed to be a 12-week webinar just through the first lockdown. And just because of the uptake and the excellent feedback, we've continued to provide, information, support, updates. And I just want to thank you all for showing up week in, week out, and for all of your positive feedback and dedication as well to this business and any other. So hats off to all of you, like literally hats off. So thank you. And then just a few other things as well then. So the stamp duty. So this is a rumor at this moment in time, but actually logically thinking about it and the impact that the stamp duty holiday has had on the housing market and the economy as a whole, has been very, very positive. So there are rumours, and the rumours are getting stronger and stronger. And I can only say rumours because there's nothing concrete at this moment in time, but there are lots of rumours that the stamp duty holiday may be extended, or there will be some phase period when March comes in. Now, I wouldn't guarantee that. I can't guarantee that. It's not fact, and it hasn't been published. It is very much rumour at this moment in time. But if you look at the positive impact that that the stamp duty holiday has had on the UK housing market, it would make sense for them to do that. If that is the case, of course, demand is going to continue to stay high, which will have an impact then as long as lending is there, which is a different field altogether. We don't know whether that's going to happen or change, as criteria has already started to change, and so we will see, but of course I'll keep you updated with that as well. So if there's any news on that or any concrete information to state that that stamp duty holiday will be extended, then of course the demand is going to stay high as long as lending is there, and we'll have to look at, obviously, if it is extended, when is it going to be extended to. We will see, but obviously that's something that we need to take into account when we're purchasing. Of course, the stamp duty holiday, we can still benefit from that, but the negative from that as well is, of course, when the stamp duty holiday ends, then it's likely that demand will drop off slightly, and then lending as well coming into the second, definitely end of Q1 next year and into the second quarter, is likely to change down to affordability and different criteria. So it is, there isn't really much more to report for you this week. I don't have a full in-depth report for you. But hopefully there's a few things there that you can kind of take note to keep an eye on, and check out our Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, just to see if there's any updates on those particular topics. But that's pretty much it on the update. So we are actually running a Property Success Convention this weekend. So on Saturday and Sunday, 8 AM till 1 PM UK time. So if you guys or anyone that you know wants to join us the weekend, then please feel free to come along. You can actually get access through that link there, or you can go to our website, www.yourfreedomempire.co.uk, click on next live event, and the event will show for you. With our platform, so I think I mentioned last week that we have, I think we've got 43 now, so 43 sourcing agents active, ready to upload their deals and get started for you guys. So it's looking better and better. It is not live at this moment in time. I have a meeting today. Again, there are a few things that need to be put right before we want you guys to have access, but get yourself registered, www.premierinvestmentvault.co.uk, and then as soon as that goes live, you will get access inside the vault and ready to start having a look at all of the deals that are being uploaded. So it's very much there and ready to go, and as soon as it is, you guys will get access to it. And then just in terms of, so we're only actually doing this on limited time for next week, so there's a few slots available. So if you are looking to talk through a specific topic, strategy, deal, or you want to ask a few questions and you just need that, it's free consultation. So if you are interested, you can pop an email across to admin@yourfreedomempire.co.uk, pop in the subject box free call, and we'll get you booked in, and it will be myself or one of the other mentors, and we can obviously help you any way we can. There is no upsell. It is not a free call with a sales pitch at the end of it. That is not what we're all about. It's very much there just to help you guys and girls out of any situations, or just to be an ear to listen, basically. So if you want to take advantage of that, pop an email across, and we'll get you booked in. Again, if you do have any questions, so this is the last one for this year. So any questions that you may have, still feel free to send them through. They'll filter through to the first webinar of next year. The dates will come out to you, and it will be a new link as well. So you will receive the link via email for those of you that have registered. For those of you that are watching this that perhaps haven't registered and just watch on YouTube, if you would like to watch live, then send us an email to admin@yourfreedomempire, or pop along to our website, in Useful Tools, there will be a section where you can register for the webinar series, and you will get automatic links and updates sent out to you for that. I'm quite sad that it's the last one of the year, but like I said, guys and girls, I just want to say thank you ever so much for something that was supposed to last 12 weeks with such a huge success and great feedback and awesome questions and just a real positive network. I'm really pleased with how the year has panned out. I'm grateful for the fact that you guys listen in and you find good value in what we are doing and the information that we are giving you. And I'm just glad that it's helped you in any shape or form. So even if you've taken 1 or 2 tips away that has helped you build your business or be more confident or be connected to the right people as a result of what we've done this year, and then that's my job done. So thank you ever so much to everyone that has been listening in. I really appreciate it. I hope that each and every one of you have the most wonderful Christmas, and I will see you all again next year. So goodbye for now.